that is built a while ago, and you wanna switch your pages router to app router. That is what we are going to do today. Hello and welcome. This is GoodXP, and I'm your host Faruk. And today I will be doing it live, and hopefully it will help you a lot. So let's begin. I can show you this this Twitter conversation going on actually just yesterday, and this is the experience that I had, and even Dan Abramov tweeted about it and had a discussion going on under that you can check out. But there is a documentation is lagging with the implementation, with the release, lagging the implementation. So documentation is not up to the state of this release of server components. It is the same for Next.js actually, and I tried to do this yesterday. I had reached to a point where I couldn't achieve it actually. It was embarrassing, but yeah. So anyway, I find how to do it really in an incremental fashion, and I thought we can do it together, and it can be basically a tutorial or how to, or just some demonstration of someone who goes through the similar pains. So in terms of the documentation on the Next.js, they have a good documentation actually, but it is rather dull or kind of not really going into the issues that you would experience. So this is what we are trying to achieve, migrating from pages to app. And I will show you that I have it here actually, and I will show you the difference. So I needed to change a bunch of stuff, but we will get to that. The point is, right now in the pages directory I don't have an index, and this is basically renders useless. So the app starts with the page.tsx in the app directory. That is the first thing you need to think about. When you have, let me demonstrate it immediately. When you have an index.tsx here, and you have a page.tsx in app directory, the compiler complains that there is a conflicting app and page file found. Source app page.tsx and source pages index.tsx. Please remove one. So first things first, you need to see and understand is you have to remove it, but if you don't want to lose any information, do something like this and change the name. So that is one thing. The next thing. Now yeah, what I'm going to do, I am going to remove this entire thing, and we will do it together. Okay, I'm going to show you really quick and remind myself also what is changing. So we are going to change a couple of things in the next config. We are going to update the next package, of course. Then what we are going to do is create these layout and page files and change what's happening on our components. This is actually pretty straightforward, but here we go. Thank you for joining. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and every like counts. Every like saves a bit of my soul, so like the video. So I'm gonna discard everything. Discard everything. Okay, so we are at a state where we don't have app directory, so this is basically done as well. We have pages, and this is rendered from pages. And at this state, one thing that I need to fix, please let me fix it really quick. We need this here. I don't know what has changed. Did I remove this already from next config? Well, interesting. I don't know. This was working, but now it is not working. Anyway, I'm not going to fight with the compiler. It is not productive. So this is how our app works, how our app looks like. We have some kind of routing happening here. We will fix those as well, but that is something that we will do later. But for now, as you can see, we can render things just fine. Okay, we are beginning. Are you ready? First step is to update your next package to the latest. How does it look? Right now, it is for me, where is it? 13.2.2, and on this version, app directory is experimental, and I opted out of it. But with the update, app directory will be the default. So we update next version. That is step 1. And it updates next package and also everything that it is depending on. So these are updated. Nice. Okay. So the other thing, I will remove this, and I will remove this. That is the second part. And the third part, we are going very fast, you see. So we need a new folder here, app.tsx, and under app.tsx we need to have two files, layout.tsx and page.tsx. So with the app router, every folder, so let's say I made some mistake here. This is app directory, and under app folder we have layout and page files. So this is how the app router works. If you have a folder here, let's say blog. Now this means /blog in the website, and under here you can have layout and page.tsx, loading.tsx, and error.tsx. I think that is it. So these are some reserved naming convention. When you name something, for example page.tsx, that means /blog will render this. If it is loading, if it has some data fetching functionality in there, data fetching logic in the page, until they are fetched, they are ready, loading will be shown. So this is where you build your skeleton. And if there is an error, the error boundary is around this component. This entire thing is a component really. So you have your error render in this file. So it is a very shortened version of building, implementing. I'm sure it will increase the development a lot. It will decrease the time to develop things a lot, and I am looking forward to using it in my usual daily practice. But anyway, let's go back to our subject and continue converting. Now with the app directory and with the layout tsx in hand, we copy everything from document and app into it. But there is a difference. You see here they say the same thing. They say update this thing and creating the root layout under the app layout tsx. You do this. That is what is written in the document, and that's okay. It's cool. They say you create this root layout. I tend to use arrow functions, so I will do it here as well, and export default root layout. So this is our layout now. It doesn't do anything, it just renders the children under the body tag. If you take a look at what's happening here. Okay, so let's comment this out for now. Lose it. So let's look at them side by side. So if you look at this layout page that we have, layout file, and our underscore document file in the pages directory, they look pretty much the same. We have the HTML and we have body in it, but here as an extra in the old version you need to include the head and next script to run the scripts. Here you don't need to do those. Here you have to use the custom components imported from the next document package. Here we are just using the native HTML elements. So that is the first thing, and we don't have to include the script here. So that gets rid of a lot of boilerplate and it looks more clean here. Also, as you can see, we are moving away from next components and defaulting to React components themselves. So this is also an improvement. This is also some simplification, a removed layer of abstraction, which is fine in my book. Anyway, so this is one thing we did. There is nothing more to copy or transfer from, migrate from this file. So this file is done. Let's continue with our app file. Now, as you can see, app file is more complicated and it carries more information. So we are going to do this. What happens here? As you know, I have created this main layout to keep this app file very clean. But now our layout is the layout itself. So this is kind of combining the document and app files. Okay, let's do one-to-one mapping first, one-to-one carryover, and then we can think about it. I will copy these imports first. Oh, before that, okay, let's leave it. So what we are going to do? We have the children here. You know what? I'm going to do one more thing. I'm gonna do this. Let's make this less. So under the app.page.tsx, I'm gonna create a very simple component. Now we made the switch, right? So I'm gonna remove this. Let's for the remove. When I run this, it will complain that there are conflicting files under pages and app. See? So we are gonna remove this now, and it will compile successfully. And when we go here, You did remove. I removed it. You can safely run. Okay, you see, now our app router is working. This is our starting point. Cool. I'm glad we are doing it like this. And so if we now put, right now you see layout doesn't do anything, it just renders the children, and children is what is on the page.tsx. So now we are going to put what is on our app file under the layout file. Is it making sense? Does it make sense? Are you following? So what we are going to do, we are going to put this in our body, right? And instead of component, which is another next thing, including app props, we are gonna just use the children. So and copy the entire thing, change this to body, right? And we will need these. So what I have done, I basically copied my entire app render into the body tag, body element, and that's it. And changed this component thing into children. More simplification. That's also okay, right? So on top of that, this can be different for you, but I have these fonts introduced into the body, which would help with the typography. And also I am creating a variable for them because I am using them in my Tailwind config. So that's another thing. That's about it. Let's render this and see what happens. Oh, I need to do what? Next router was not mounted. Aha. So here you go. This is a good thing. As you can see here on my main layout, I am using the router to know about the path that the visitor is visiting, rendering, and after calculating that, I am choosing what intent that I will send to navbar. Makes sense, right? So with the new app router, with the new version of Next, use router is not used in the app directory. Instead, we are using use path name imported from Next navigation package. So it just returns the path name, and now instead of router.path name, we are just gonna check the path name. So this should work now. This is what we get. What happened? We forgot to. I didn't forget. It was intentional. We are gonna now import the styles. So we are gonna import styles here, and voila, we have everything presented to us. Now you can see I get my navbar links are here, my page.tsx under the app directory, it is there, and footer and everything. And even the good thing is you can leave it like this, and the pages router works in tandem with app router, and you can visit because this slash projects is here. That is what is being rendered. So they work hand in hand. You can do this incrementally, you can do step by step. We don't have to feel compelled to do everything at once. So next what we are going to do is we are going to, this is done by the way, underscore app directory is done, we don't need it anymore. Next is we are gonna change what is here. So our layout is done, page.css, and it is this is the content of index.css. So let's again put them side by side. We have get static props here. In the new app router, we don't use get static props, get server side props. As you can see here in the migration documentation, it tells you that instead of these methods, you just use so under pages you use get static props. In the app directory, data fetching with fetch will default to course cache, etc. But you should just regularly use a function to get your files, get your things, whatever. So this is what we are going to do now. I'm gonna say here simply, let's say, I'm gonna say const get data equals an async function, and that just does this using the ghost service that I built before. You can, if you are new in the channel, you can go check my entire video series where I built this project from the scratch. So yeah, take a look at that. And as you can see here in the documentation as well, I'm referring to documentation because after this video you can go check the documentation as well. So yeah, let me have a coffee. Okay, so now what we are going to do, similar to before, this was a prop. Using this method, we were getting the data as a prop into the component, but now we are just gonna get the data like this. Then it should be like this structure. Right. So we got rid of this head. We have this thing that we can use now, I think. Yes, we can get this part. And we get the next image. So let's comment these extra components now and do the incrementation. Does it make sense? Yeah. And in the meantime, let's console log this stuff here. And for the landing background, I can get it from my public folder. Yes. So this should work now. Let's go and check it out. Okay, we have the image, and image covers the entirety of the screen real estate, which is how it is supposed to be. Now we are gonna add the hero. What happened? I'm gonna, let's see how this works. We are gonna import the hero component and this is content.hero, I think. Yes. Okay, so let's see what happens. This happens, and I know this happens. Why? Because there are these buttons. When I remove these buttons from the render, we can get the hero component rendered, which is cool, which is what we want. So let's put the featured also. Import the component here. And we get the featured components as well, without any kind of problem. Just that's like, so we can put a key here to get rid of this warning. Okay, so that's it. Now the problem here. Let's solve this together, and I don't think we need this anymore. So this is done as well. So now we have copied our entire index page, landing page, to the page.tsx, to the app router, which is cool. But there is one problem here, one issue, and let's solve it together. So as you can see, the problem here is in hero, we have a button and this button component. Let me open it. This button component gets a prop, on-click prop, which is then passed on to the button elements on-click method, used in the on-click method. And I believe this is this can be solved with changing this to link, and we are not doing anything, we are just using it for routing, navigation. So this is a bad implementation and in the beginning. But one thing puzzles me, and I still don't understand why, is my navbar also has a button and also has an on-click. But the problem here is where is it? Okay. As you can see, so event handlers cannot be passed to client components as props. So this is an issue, and I am not sure how to circumvent this error, how to bypass this error, because you can have event handlers, you can have situations or scenarios that you would need event handlers defined on a upper level and passed as a prop, or I need to change how I think about implementing these complex functionalities, complex how do you call it? Complex interaction of the user interfaces. Same component can be used in different places and act differently on the same event. So that is something I will figure this out. I will figure out later. But basically this can be, instead of an on-click event, which is since I am using these buttons for navigation, so it can be like source, and I can give like, I don't know, some resume tsx, I am not sure. So we can have this, and instead of this we can have a string here, source, right? And we can convert this to a link. This and source can be link as a source. href. Sorry. So we can do it like this, and it would, I think it would be the same, but got undefined instead. That is the navbar. So let's change the navbar. Button source equals slash content. Ah, wait, I am silly. Hero. It should be slash resume. What the hell? So yeah, this should work. And you see, nothing changes. And it goes to resume, and we will get a 404 because I don't have it. Yeah, I can solve my problem, that's okay. But what I wonder is how to solve this dynamic event handling thing. And I will think about that in the future. But that's about it. That is how you can migrate your pages components, pages routing to app routing. And as I mentioned, now we can do the same for project folders and the rest. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna have a projects folder here, and under that projects, and under that I will have a page.tsx, and that should be it. And now we have a conflicting routes as expected, because immediately now when a user visits slash projects, should it render pages.projects.index or pages app.projects app slash projects slash page. So that's it. It should be pretty straightforward here. I have my documentation from now on. The steps I mentioned are not really documented in a good way. So I hope this video, this live demonstration, live application of this migration helps you and everyone watches. Thank you for joining. I will end it here now. Subscribe and like, and keep coming back. I didn't use my lights. Every time I forgot one or two things. Every time I forgot to do either this or that. But that is how I was supposed to be looking since the beginning of the video. But anyway, thank you for joining. I am learning on the job. I wanna make this content creation a constant thing in my life. This channel is staying, this channel will stay, so keep coming back, keep asking for more. Let me grow, let me build. Let's grow and build together. Those are important.